Holy shit, guys. Let's get it, man. Steven Moustaris, as always. UFC 291 literally just finished. Shouts out to my ladies at B-Dubs, always hooking me up. But guys, let's just get straight into it, man. I feel like I should start with the main event. I feel like it's the most worthy, topic currently. Justin Gaethje with a knockout. First of all, I'm not shocked at all at a knockout, but a head kick knockout from Justin Gaethje, like, I don't think any of us saw that coming. And not only a head kick knockout, but at the same arena from a year ago, even though it was his right leg compared to Leon Edwards' left leg, but literally same building, same everything, same combo finishes Dustin Poirier the same way that Leon Edwards finished Kamaru Usman. Luckily it wasn't, a minute left in the fifth round for Gaethje where he was getting his ass beat the entire night, but still absolutely mind-blowing. I don't think you guys could write that up. That's personally one of my favorite combos ever. I think Robert Whitaker uses it tremendously. Leon Edwards uses it tremendously. And for Justin Gaethje to do that tonight was just phenomenal. Like, especially in that first round, if you guys are watching, both guys, like, I thought both of them did pretty good. It looked like that cut really bothered Gaethje. But, he threw two head kicks there in the beginning of that, or not in the beginning, but in that first round. And Dustin Poirier barely got his hand up to block it twice. And it was something that didn't have anything in front of it or behind it. So, it's no shock at all for, here we are thinking since Gaethje was ducking left the entire night, or ducking right technically, it'd have been Dustin Poirier's left knee or left kick that would have finished it. But boy, were we, holy shit. I'm still shocked right now. I'm still literally shook right now. I would have never expected a head kick knockout from Justin Gaethje. For all my EA Sports fans out there, UFC 3, I remember being so frustrated all the time because they didn't even have a head kick for Justin Gaethje in there. And his one thing was the rolling thunder kick, the front flip kick that you would just spam and it would piss you off. And it's impressive to see this guy have such a long career that he's had already. He fights all the time. He's super active. And for him, his last fight to add that jab at the end of the third round and to get a takedown against Fiziev. And then for this fight, to come out with a head kicks, the dude just adding stuff to his game still, and it's kind of mind-blowing. So, it's, hats off to Gaethje. I don't want to be a dick here. I don't know what this win truly does for him. Yeah, cool. Adds a knockout of Dustin Poirier. Who knocks out DP at 155? 145, we've seen it for sure. In a younger DP, we've seen it. But we haven't seen that shit in forever, man. So, absolutely insane. But, that's going to be cool. It's going to be on the resume. Is Justin Gaethje going to beat a Charles Oliveira? Is he going to beat an Islam Makhachev? I get that he can knock these guys out. But when you get to that high a level, man, especially against grapplers like that, submission artists like that, my opinion doesn't change. I don't know if Justin Gaethje is going to go on and win. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he does do it. But, it just seems like he might lose. So shouts out to him for even getting that last little, I don't want to say it last, but, to even add that to his, highlight reel already. Oh, man. Shouts out to Gaethje, man. You got to feel bad for DP a little bit. But luckily for both of these guys, a loss wasn't going to be the end of the world for either of them. Maybe the end of their careers. I'm not sure what DP is going to do, but, at least when it comes to, oh my gosh, are we going to take your, are your title hopes out the window? They pretty much kind of were already, are we going to hurt your ranking? Who gives a shit about that if you can't get the title? I get all that. You guys have already, your career, your legacy is set in stone at this rate. So it is sad for DP to get knocked out like that, especially in front of his lady and all that. It's never nice to see people get knocked out, but still, it's such a touch of class. The dude has done so much. He's done it to so many people. It just comes around. So it's awesome to see. Shouts out to both of them. Hell of a fucking fight. And, I just can't wait to see what's going to happen next for both guys. I don't know if DP's going to stick around for the Gaethje trilogy after what Gaethje goes through. I don't know. I just don't see either guy really fighting anybody unless it's for the title or it's Charles Oliveira or Islam Makhachev. So I just don't see it. And maybe a Conor McGregor fight, but still, the DP doesn't need it. And I guess Gaethje could do it, but do we really want to see that? Come on now. So goes into the co-main event. Probably the most, honestly, not even many decisions, but it's probably the most, I'm seeing out there, probably the most flustered that people have gotten. I saw a lot of people thought Jan won. Regardless of what you guys think, I truly feel, and this is just my opinion, so tell me I'm stupid, whatever. I truly feel Alex Pereira actually showed us way more than what Jan Blachowicz has done tonight. Truly. Not only did he actually get taken down instantly off the first leg kick that he threw, he gets taken down and did pretty decent on the fence. Kind of looked like he had a standing guillotine there for a second. But Jan's just too good at positioning and everything. Jan gets him down, threatens his own rear naked chokes a couple times. which I thought a couple of them there were like, oh shit, Alex is done. And for Alex to like have him on his back for 4 minutes and to still last to the second round and then come out in the second round, stuff a couple takedowns. And, sadly, this was probably the only fight that elevation actually really bothered. And it was Jan after the first round. Jan was gassed after the first round, especially in that second round. He almost got finished at the end. And then for the third round, for Alex Pereira to keep going out there and to keep stuffing takedowns, like when Izzy couldn't at that rate, like it was impressive. I know he ends the fight with him on top and everything, but still, I just feel like the damage Alex did, what he was showing, the resiliency, I really feel like he did way more. And, it's nice to see. I think Alex, kind of proved me a lot, especially when it comes to the light heavyweight division, where outside of Magomed Ankalaev, which would be a bad night for him, I just, outside of that, like, who's going to take him down like that all night? Like, Yuri's going to stand up with him. Jamal Hill's going to stand up with him. Fucking, Johnny Walker, if you want to add him in there. Freaking Alexander Rakic is going to stand up with him. Like, all these guys are going to stand up with him. So, I'm pretty excited for it to see what happens with him. Probably the UFC was like, hey, let's make sure he gets the nod if they are in charge of that. But, Jan, the one thing that sucks with Jan currently is, after his Izzy fight, it's just been a downhill slide ever since. And me personally, I think it's the age. I just think he's starting to look a little slower. I think his willingness to like get into these bangers, or I just don't think he wants to anymore. Although he did look good with some leg kicks tonight, and clearly the first round he looked good. Jan just doesn't look like he's trying to finish fights anymore. It looks like he's just kind of just laying for positioning. And I don't know how to explain it, guys. It seems like he kind of got to the point where he realized, like, oh, I can play it safe and I can win on points and everything. And that's not the Jan that we all fell in love with. And that's not the Jan who, became champion. So for him to go out is after he loses to Izzy and looks almost unstoppable, to get fucking just absolutely outclassed by a Glover Teixeira at 44 years old, which shouts out to Glover, but still, like, that was pretty embarrassing. You can't blame him for the Alexander Rakic outcome just because Rakic blew out his knee so quickly. But the Magomed Ankalaev fight, like, the UFC hates this guy for a reason now because that fight was so boring. And for him to come out there tonight and really, look great in the first round, but to not be able to finish him, this guy that he's talking all this shit about, and for Alex Pereira to kind of live there and, win or lose, whatever, for it to even be a split decision, it was just really tough for me. And I just don't know. I clearly think Jan can continue to win and keep doing the thing, but just for me, I'm starting to see the end. And he's 40 years old, which, hats off to the guy. He's still in there at 40 years old, still giving guys fights, still giving young guys fights and everything, like giving them all the fits. So shouts out to Jan. It was just tough, man. I just thought it was the lackluster performance. I know, trust me, the elevation really killed him, which you can't blame him, whatever, but that's something you got to put into consideration when you go into these fights. So I thought Alex won just I thought he did a lot more when it came to the whole spectrum. Not only did he get dominated the first round, comes back, wins the second round in dominating fashion, and then round 3 outstrikes him, ends up on the ground in the last, but he did stuff a couple takedowns. So, it's a toss-up. Not mad at whoever would have won. I thought split decision was correct, but, I do think Alex Pereira has a little more left in the tank when it comes to his future at that division than a Jan Blachowicz does. So, and then, man, MVP of the night, greatest moment of the night, dude, Derrick Lewis. Holy shit. That was one of the only fights that I got wrong tonight. I got Gaethje wrong, too. I didn't think Gaethje was going to head kick Dustin Poirier. Excuse me, guys, for getting that wrong. But Derrick Lewis, I just thought, end of the road. The dude's last couple fights, I know he's on a skid or whatever, but it just seems like he gets hit once and he's like, you know what? This would turn me into a fucking monster the last few fights. I'd start trading. I'd start knocking people's heads off. But, I'm going to take my money. I'm going to take my licks and get out of here. And that's kind of what I thought was going to happen tonight. I thought he was going to get gassed. I thought Marcos Rosario de Lima, I thought he was going to, kind of be a little more resilient. But then fucking Derrick Lewis comes out with a flying fucking knee. It clearly taught Jorge Masvidal everything that he's ever known. And, oh, my God, dude. And just after that, and then for him, his whole press fight or post fight, taking the shorts off again, doing the run, doing the X, the fucking you guys know what I'm talking about, the DX suck it. It's just the whole thing was amazing. His interview with, his answers, like always, it's one of the greatest moments ever, especially after the Tony Ferguson fight. Like, holy shit. But, shouts out to Derrick Lewis, 38 years old, still doing the damn thing. Just feels like the rightful owner of knockouts. Like, I'm sorry, Matt Brown. Just feels like Derrick Lewis deserves it. And holy shit, what a performance. A flying knee, guys. Like, who sees that coming? Derrick Lewis, man. Just when you guys think, like, or for at least me, just when I think he's done and he's out of it, we've seen everything, comes out flying knee, finishes this dude, and one of the greatest post-fight experiences I've ever even witnessed. So holy shit, shout out to everybody that was there tonight. And like I said, really, really, really just lighten the mood after one of the most depressing things I've ever seen in my life. Oh, guys, Tony fucking Ferguson. I don't even know what to do. Like, first of all, before I get too crazy, I don't want to forget, shouts out to Bobby Green. Phenomenal performance out of him. Looked amazing. If we're going to be here, if I have to raise any little eyebrow at all, the one thing that I do want to say and point out, which doesn't matter anymore, we can't change the past, and I'm not going to cry about it because regardless, who knows what would have happened. But at least that first round, I thought Tony was looking real good in the beginning of it. And then right after that eye poke, as soon as they took that little break, man, it just felt like it was just Bobby Green's fight after that. And, easily that could have happened without the eye poke. So I'm not sitting there saying it, but I just felt like all the success out of Tony was gone. I felt like he couldn't see there for a while. I feel like he was really just kind of guessing what was getting thrown at him, whether it was the blood or whatever. Who knows what happened, because Tony's such a dog and just, he never stops fighting. But, again, it's just like the video I posted. And everybody's been talking about it. Did we need to see that again? Did we need to see Tony Ferguson? It wasn't even like it was like he had a couple moments tonight, some nice lower leg kicks I liked a lot, but like, man, he had nothing for Bobby Green. He was getting pieced up. It looked a lot like that Gaethje fight again, where his eyes are just bleeding. He looks like he's got fucking, the Joker's mask hanging on him, but it's his actual blood. Like, shit's depressing. He's shaking his head because he can't see because the blood's in his eyes. And then at the end of the fight, for Tony Ferguson to get choked out like that, dude, oh my God. It's just another moment. It's just another moment. Not only do we have Gaethje knocking him the fuck, or, I guess not knocking him out because it was more of a doctor stoppage, or a ref stoppage, but still, that whole fucking display of that fight was just disgusting. And then him losing his arm to Charles Oliveira, losing his leg to Beneil Dariush, like front kick from Michael Chandler, Nate Diaz subbing him, and like, did we need to see another one? Six straight now in devastating fashion. And it's the fucked up part, man, is I think Tony Ferguson's the type of guy, not to be funny here, not the meme, but Tony Ferguson's the type of guy to lose 6 in a row and think he can win another 6 in a row and get the title shot. So I don't think he's going to retire, dude. I hope he did. Like, I mean, we're sitting here, it's only like 20 minutes after the fight card, so who knows what happened, but depression all over. It was just so sad to see. And even going into the third round, I was like, even if Tony can somehow get this win in this third round, like, what is this going to do? We were seeing him get his ass beat tonight. He looks slow. He can't even punch. Like, it was just bad, guys. Just all around bad. I'm sorry for everybody that's Tony Ferguson fans. I'm an El Kukui fan myself, and oh man, just sad shit out there. But shouts out to Bobby Green. Hopefully he can, make something happen. But just depressing. I hope the UFC doesn't give Tony Ferguson another fight. I really don't. And I really hope that doesn't make him go over to bare knuckle or Bellator or whatever. I can't watch Tony Ferguson lose anymore. So, and then, shout out to Kevin Holland. One of the greatest performances of the night for sure. I don't think it came much of a shocker to me. I think the one thing that really shook me the most was, I thought Kevin Holland was going to win, and I thought Michael Chiesa was going to retire. And man, I don't want to ever sit here and poke ever at people and make it sound like I'm a great fighter or whatever, because I know I'm not, but, especially when it comes to the high level MMA, when I'm comparing these, guys to each other at the top of the top, it's easy to sit here and kind of pick them apart, but I am very understanding Michael Chiesa would kick my ass. So I'm not saying it like this, but when it comes to the top, he's ranked number 12 somehow. And when he's in the top 15, top whatever, and you're even in the UFC anymore, if you're in this modern day of MMA, if you're sitting there and you're terrified of people throwing shit at you, and you start getting into the fetal position when people are throwing stuff at you because you're so afraid and you're biting on every feint, and like, dude, you're not going to make it far in MMA. And it was kind of depressing seeing that straight off the jump with Michael Chiesa. Like, as soon as Kevin Holland even touched him, he would just shell up, kind of fall to his knees already, and just let Holland just take off on him. And then I don't know what it is. Chiesa's been talked about, this great submission guy, this great grappler, and I know he's great and everything, but dude, we keep seeing him get submitted. We keep seeing him get caught in Darce chokes or any choke, rear naked, guillotines, all these things, and it's because of his lack of IQ is really what the problem is. Not like he's getting fucked up or anything too bad. He's honestly just freaking the fuck out in these positions. Like Kevin Holland even said, he freaks out and he just, fight or flight, and he just loses track of what he's doing. It's terrible. And it was sad to see, but, I know he took his gloves off and I know it felt really emotional. But, I kind of hope he retires. I'm not trying to be a dick here, but what's there left to see with Michael Chiesa? I don't want to see it. Like, it would have made more sense for me to see Michael Chiesa fight Michel Pereira this weekend. And, the UFC's kind of lucky that Wonderboy didn't fight Michel Pereira this weekend, because it would have been an awful fight. I think Wonderboy would have just pieced up Michel Pereira. It would have been cool for Wonderboy fans, but I didn't think Chiesa deserved. I know he's ranked, but I didn't think he deserved to even be in there with Kevin Holland. Like, Kevin Holland's too good and too active right now. Like, it just didn't make sense for me. Chiesa coming in off of 2 years. And I don't know. It was just bad. I hope we never see Chiesa fight again. Hope Kevin Holland finally can get a ranking. Hope he can start, really climbing again. He's learned a lot. He's young as hell. It's amazing seeing Kevin Holland. Seriously, his takedown defense tonight was phenomenal. Like, shouts out to the dude. Seriously, you got to take your hats off to him. And just amazing performance, just fun way to get it done. And wow, holy shit! I wish I had put submission now because we made some money. And then Bone Fiend Brothers, shouts out to them. What was the Krylov, I think, had one of the nastiest head kicks of the night, or Kopylov or something. And then, I think Miranda Maverick had a nasty one. Shouts out to, what's the dude's name? Something Medic. He had Unos Medic or something. He had that nasty spinning back fist in like the second fight of the night. Absolutely fucking phenomenal. Honestly, shouts out to the whole card. I mind blown again. Shouts out to Justin Gaethje, for sure MVP of the night. Derrick Lewis, definitely probably the most exciting part of the night. Kevin Holland, crazy performance. Bobby Green, great performance. So, as always, your boy Steven Moustaris, guys. MMA Short Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's go, baby.